Hey everyone, welcome to my Flosstube. I am Amy. I'm Fiber Arts Amy here and on Instagram. I haven't been here for a while. Life has just been very, very busy and I haven't gotten to this. And I'm glad to be back. I've been stitching, but my stitching bug definitely took a hit around the first of the year. And then it came back, but also some of my other bugs really came like revving back. Like I've been super into quilting. I've been doing more knitting. I learned how to do some new weaving techniques since I saw you last. So I've been very crafty, just maybe a little bit less stitching than normal, and then just so busy with just school stuff and kids and doctors and physical therapy and all of these things. So today was kind of like an UGG day. I had dentist appointments for my kids this morning. I'm picking a kid up early from school this afternoon to go to another appointment. That leaves me kind of like, I don't know if I really want to sit down and settle to try to stitch something or whatever. So I was like, I'll film Flosstube. So here I am. This might be long. I don't know. It might be a long video, even for me. We'll see. My husband cleared space on my phone for me, so hopefully my phone will be able to handle it all. Anyway, I'm very happy to be back and to share some of what I have been doing. I'm going to share some things that aren't, I'm going to share some like quilty things and maybe some knitty things, but I'll try to do that at the end. I'm not good at like explicitly separating everything though. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm gonna dive in. And this is in no order. Also, I'm not even trying to show you everything I stitched on since I filmed last. That would just be too hard to like get everything together. But there's a lot. I pulled like some of the highlights. And I'll do my best. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you, this is something I started with Stitchin' Mommy. This is a Butternut Road pattern called Once Upon a Time, and I love this. I have always loved this. I really love the Mirabilias and lavender and laces and things that have like background design, that have like additional design elements other than just the fancy lady. I like the ones with just fancy ladies too, but now wait a minute, where's my stitching? I literally have an empty bag here. Did I put it in the wrong bag when I put it away? Oh, I'm gonna be, oh no, I know where it is, I know where it is. Okay, pause, I know where it is. Haha, here it is. This is gonna be hard to see. So I haven't gotten much done on her. I had a panic for there for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, where did it go? It's still on Q-snaps. So I have done, I'm going to show you this pattern or the photo again. I've done part of her sleeve. I've done, which is also what Stitchin' Mommy did. She started with a sleeve. I've done part of her sleeve and I finished out the strand going down her dress. Got like lint on here. And then I went up and started her hair. I'm going to work on some of that and just generally kind of get this area filled in. I'm just keeping her on my Q-snap for now, apparently. That means she's likely to get more work done on her. She's just quick and easy and convenient to pull. I'm gonna kind of try to put some things away as I go. I mean, away. Very loose term here. I'm gonna show you Garden Beauty for Mirabilia. I am not going to pull up the like cover photo because I have enough of this done. I don't have it. I just have a working copy in my bag. But here is Garden Beauty. I've got a lot of her done. She's coming along. So this is the piece that I stitch. We try to stitch once a week. Doesn't always happen, but about once a week I stitch with Lisa, Crossed by Floss. You should check out her Instagram if you love. She stitches a lot more than just Mirabilias, but she does a lot with Mirabilias and Nora Corbis. So if you're interested in that, you should check her out. she's coming along. We are hoping very much to have her done in time for the Mirabilia retreat that I'm hosting with Kitschy Whips in October in Charlotte, the Queen City Stitch Retreat. So anyway, hopefully we might end up having to have some late night stitching sessions. It's still like 8 months away or something. Should be fine. 7 months away. It's like panic inducing. The retreat that seemed so far away when Maggie and I started planning it is now feels quite close. I am also stitching, and I don't have a photo for this either, I apologize. I am stitching, I can find it. I'm missing all my stitching today. This is Bella Rose. So Nora has several designs. I need to Google that for you. Let me get my iPad. I need to give you a good photo. So she has a number of small designs of just like ladies' heads. There's 2, you would have to buy 2 patterns to get all 4. Each pattern has 2 heads in it. Let's see. Here's a picture of one stitched. That's Bella Rose. She's very pretty. She's full coverage as charted. I am not stitching the background. I picked this bluish fabric. I have no idea what it is. It's a 32 count something. I usually stitch my big Mirabilias on 28, but this was a 32 I had. So again, I'm just not stitching the blue background. And I don't have much, I've been stitching this in hand. I don't have much margin here because I'm planning on finishing it into like a pincushion, a small pillow. I'm not gonna frame it. So there's Bella Rose. And then I'm gonna have to pull up a photo for this one too. I've also been stitching her letters for mermaids. I've been stitching the letter A for Amy, my first name. Let me see. This is what it should look like when it's done. I should have said, I'm sorry if you can hear my dishwasher like gurgling in the other room. Today is Monday, February 27th. So we are almost done with the month of February. Here's where I am. I use these a lot when I don't travel much, but I use them as travel stitching. If I'm going somewhere, I have this and the Bella Rose in this bag. Of course, I'm not gonna remember who I got the bag from. I think this might be Cricklewood Crossing. I don't see a tag anywhere though. Well, Cricklewood Crossing is a store I've bought from on Etsy before. And that's my best guess who this bag is from. But I keep the 2 projects in it. You can hear, oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. If I edited, I would cut that out, but I don't edit. Hopefully I gave you enough warning that if you're wearing headphones, you could pop them off real quick. Sorry about that. Oh, and also Bella Rose, I am planning on stitching the other woman's head that came in that pattern. I love Mirabilia. I'm hosting a Mirabilia retreat, but even so, I love stitching a lot of other things, right? And I think being so like inundated with Mirabilia for the last several months while planning the retreat, it kind of made my Mira vibe wane a little bit. I mean, it's still there, but like wane a bit from where it normally is. Kind of like I think how sometimes cross stitchers who end up owning cross stitch stores will end up saying that they stop stitching because like they kind of lose some of the joy of it because it's all they do all day long and it's like it becomes a job. I think I was suffering from that a little bit. But in the last like week or so, I'm feeling that like Mira inspiration like really come roaring back. it's helping to like remind myself how much I love stitching things that maybe I'm not seeing all the time on Instagram. Kind of helps. Anyway, none of that really. That's all an aside. I'm so bad at having photos for you guys. I am stitching, I'm not going to pull a photo of this one. So I joined a Zoom with Pam in Stitching in the Land of, she's at Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. And she also owns a cross stitch store. She runs Stitch New England. She holds a Hawk Run Hollow Zoom once a month, and I join in on that. I'm stitching, this is from the Farms of Hawk Run Hollow. You can kind of get what's going on here. This is a lady, and here it says apple butter, and there's just like apple trees here, which I need to finish stitching, and up here it says like Aunt Jane's or something. I'm stitching this for my husband's aunt. There's like still the border that goes all the way around and the sign hanging down. I'm also going to leave out the background of the sign, I think. I was going to turn this in, I am going to turn this into a small pillow for my husband's aunt. You can see I started some of the fill in white. The men in my family adore apple butter, and my husband's aunt makes us apple butter a lot, and we love it and are very grateful for it. And my husband's aunt is the sort of person who, like, she appreciates handmade stuff. She doesn't really sew or anything herself, but I feel like canning's the same kind of thing. Like anytime it doesn't have to be fiber arts or needle arts, right? Like if somebody puts a lot of time into making anything, whether it's like woodworking, canning, cooking, like those are all, like, you understand how much time, how much love goes into those things. So I consider her, stitch worthy. So I made her a quilt last summer. It was a very simple quilt. I don't usually gift complicated quilts, but anyway, that's what I did, or what I'm working on. When I'm done with this, I have the map of Hawk Run Hollow all kitted up and ready to go in here, and I'm gonna jump in with the map. Okay, so I am stitching, I have never done a temperature piece before. They typically don't like appeal to me that much. I've even thought about, like, I'd almost rather stitch a piece that was like my overall mood for the day, like a mood ring. Something that was like a little more personal than just like the temperature. I don't know, but there are some amazing temperature patterns out there. The one that has always, well, there's two. One in particular that's always tempted me has been Stitchin' Mommy's Temperature Tree. It's just so beautiful stitched up. It is just like the rainbow of leaves, and it's simple, but it is stunning. I like some of her others a lot too. I like her Temperature Garden that you can do highs and lows on. It's not my thing, but I'm amazed by her hot air balloon temperature piece. I just feel like that's very impressive. The design, I'm kind of in awe of her designing that. But she put out Temperature Quaker this year, and that is what totally, got me to do one. I was like, forget it, I'm jumping in. So here, I have threads everywhere. Here's my Temperature Quaker. And this is just leftover wishel linen from something else. So I'm having so much fun stitching this design. I don't do it on a schedule. Like, I know some people do it every Sunday or every 2 days or whatever. I don't do that. What I do is every day, it was pretty easy to get in the habit of recording the temperature on my calendar. So when I started doing Flosstube, I started using one of these, the Book of Days from, is it Needlework Press? Yeah. Sorry, there was a free chart there that I was apparently showing. Anyway, this is where I record, and I don't just record cross stitching, like whatever handwork thing I worked on that day, I just jotted down. But I got into the habit very easily of just including the temperature, the high temperature at the bottom. So, and every once in a while I'll forget and I can go back in and look at the history to find the high temperature from that day. So I'm really enjoying doing this. Now, I had to figure out how to make it work for me, which meant there's just threads everywhere. I hate changing threads, so I don't. I leave, if there's still like a long strand, I just, on the last stitch, I don't complete the second leg of the cross, and I just leave the threads out here. This is small enough, and I'm stitching it hand. They're not really in my way, actually. The other thing though too, okay, so when I started this, my kids were pretty excited about it. My kids love the anchor threads because they come on the spools. So we went to Michael's, which is the one close to me. Now Michael's only carries the smaller display of anchor, at least my Michael's. I know some of the Joann's have like the big display with like all the anchor colors. Mine just has the smaller one. I don't know if it's all of them, but it's a lot of them. Anyway, I told my kids I think it's like 19 colors or something in a rainbow, and I let them pick. So my colors do not blend as well as the colors Stitch and Mommy chose, okay? I feel like that's very important information because I look at Stitch and Mommy's and I'm like, oh, your DMCs blend so well from like blue to blue-green to green and like from purple through to indigo and like a purpley blue down to blue. Mine don't do that. Mine are more like jumps, right? From purple to blue to green. But I still love it. It's a little more personalized because my kids pick the colors. The other thing I think I did was, I think on the high temperature, this isn't that important, especially in like January and February, but I basically like got rid of the highest temperature because it's so unlikely we would get that here. I'm using the like, she includes several different temperature ranges depending on like what region you live in. So I have the one that like has both pretty high highs and pretty low lows, but I doubt we're gonna get as high as that first high. So anyway, I just basically crossed out, instead of making it like 97 and above, my highest high is like 95 and above or something like that. So anyway, that's all. I'm very happy with it. It's been fun, just a fun little thing to pick up when I know it's been, you know, several days or a week, and make progress on. This is the other thing that I stitch with Pam's Zooms at Stitch in the Land of Good Enough. This is Sleeping Beauty by Joan Elliott. Almost everyone in that Zoom is stitching a Mirabilia, and here I am, like the person so many people think of as like the Mirabilia lady, and I'm stitching a Joan Elliott. That's you. This is my only really active Joan Elliott I have going. I'm not gonna pull up a picture of it, but her head's here, there's her hair, there's a bunch of arches behind her, and I've just been stitching this poke and stab in hand and enjoying it. This week I had trouble with the technology though, which is weird, right? I got into the Zoom and then got kicked out. I was like, what's going on? And I didn't know if everyone got kicked out, if it was just me. It was just me. I got back in. I ended up having to restart. It took me a while to get back in. I had to restart my iPad in order to get back in. My iPad just hadn't been restarted in a while, and then I had to leave again almost right away to tuck kids in, so I didn't get to go in a lot this month. My next one is Mirabilia Cinderella. I've just been really feeling this one lately. What has helped me really get my mirror bug back is focusing more on myself. I think a lot of us do this, so just in case this advice helps you at all. I love being part of the Flosstube community. I love the friends that I've made online, but sometimes there's this like like getting caught, or I feel like getting caught up in what everyone else is doing and wanting to join in. And I have talked about this a little bit before, that feeling of like, I should finish some of these things before the Mirabilia retreat. But like, if that's not what I'm really in the mood to stitch on, then it's like, ugh, and I don't feel like stitching it. And then my bug kind of suffers. Working on Cinderella has been helping me get my bug back, because I have a lot of mirrors that are much closer to a finish, but this is one I've been in the mood to stitch. So she's gotten some work since you saw her last. So this is her dress. These are the steps behind her. There's some trees here. Her body is gonna go off that way. I don't have much done, but I'm really enjoying. Did I already put it away? I'm losing everything. Oh my goodness. I was looking for this. It's right here. Oh, it's only Monday, guys. Anyway, this is what she looks like. I'm really enjoying her. I don't know why. She's what I'm into right now. So she's been fun. Okay, I feel like this happens all the time, but I feel like I'm flying. I'm only at 20 minutes. Maybe this will actually be a short video. I say that a lot, don't I? Right before I have a 2-hour video. Okay, this one is Forest Goddess from Mirabilia. She's MD87. Hello, glare. I am stitching her with Memphis Sarah E. Oh, horrible glare. Memphis Sarah E. That's better. And Lisa, Crossed by Floss. Memphis Sarah E. is Sarah. I call people by their Flosstube names so often, and I feel like maybe it's a bad habit. Okay, so this one I'm super excited about because, so I just started this, like I think I started January 1st. I got some of her skin done. This is part of like the drapery coming down from her hands on either side, obviously her hair. This is a Clay by Kim. I'm so excited about this piece because the colors in real life look nothing like the photo. So this is, I think, one of the worst Mirabilia cover photos of all time. So that like kind of cape thing behind her that looks yellow, it's not yellow. It's green. It's like chartreuse greens. That's what the cape is. There's a little bit of yellow in her on the very outside, and then the rest is greens. This cover photo is very misleading. Her colors are super, super vibrant. Like, look at that orange. I'm not sure that I even have the brightest orange in yet for her bodice. So I'm really excited just to see how she looks in real life. I've seen pictures of her stitched before, but I'm looking forward to seeing her kind of come to life as I work on her, because I know she's so different in real life than she is in the photo. Like, I'm almost done. It's really weird. I must be doing something wrong today. This is Teresa Wensler's Princess and Dragon. This one has languished a little bit too, which I am disappointed of. I am very happy when I get chunks of time to work on this, at least once a week. That's kind of like my goal, like once or twice a week while my kids are at school. But honestly, I haven't been having a lot of that time, I feel like, this fall and this winter. I've been really busy going to physical therapy. My physical therapy is coming to an end in a few weeks for my ankle surgery, which is exciting, just to get all that time back. And I'll still be using a lot of that time for exercise, but more like exercise around the house, and that's a whole other story. It's just gonna be nice to have that time back for me. So, and hopefully, the last couple weeks I have picked her up once a week, and I'm hoping that that's going to continue because I really enjoy doing that. Because then I see steady progress on it, and it's kind of like the chatelaine. It's not something I'm going to be able to sit down and just like bust out. You know, it's not even something if I focus on it will be done in a couple of months, because I can't focus on it. It's just too complex. It would drive me crazy. But I have been working on the border, actually. This is where she is right now. I can't believe I'm this close to finishing a Teresa Wensler. And when I say this close, I do realize it's still like a lot of empty space. But I look at it, I'm like, I'm almost done. But I've been in the mood to start filling in border, and I figure I should do that while the mood has hit me, because the borders can be kind of a slog at the end. This border is not as complex as some of hers. It's basically just, it's like, I don't know, 8 different shades of green. And then there's going to be flowers. Each of these like kind of empty spots is going to have a flower in it, but the flowers are beaded. So those will happen at the end. I'll probably end up doing those in hand. This is on a Monaco, so this is 28 count antique white Monaco. I really like Monaco for Teresa Wenslers. It's good for other things too, but it's definitely a go-to for Teresa Wenslers. It's nice and thick and sturdy. It holds up to the stitches, and like the density of how, you know, how just this can get really dense with all of these. It's not as much as like a Haid or full coverage, but still with all of these color changes, it can get pretty dense back here. So I really like the Monaco for it. So anyway, yeah, I like how that's going. I anytime I've been managing to work on it, I'm pretty happy with it. Don't fall. I have to clean up my stitching area. It's very unbalanced right now. Okay, so I also, oh, you know what? Let me show you some of the small things. So, it's gonna be dusty. Well, my stitchy bug was pretty down, especially like around Christmas break. I started kind of obsessively stitching smalls. So I found these boxes at stitchery.shop on Etsy. If you just go into Etsy and search for the store stitchery.shop, it'll come up. It is in, I want to say it's in Ukraine. If it's not Ukraine, it's somewhere else. It's not the US, but I think it's the Ukraine. So I found these boxes and I love them. So there's 2 lids. The first lid comes off, and this is one of those, there's magnets to hold it in place. These are the sorts of containers that I really like for beading. So this sits right on my table over here, so that when I'm beading, not that I've beaded anything since I made this, but you know, I can use these containers. This says for needles, but I can use this for the beads, which makes me happy. And then that pops off. I don't want everything to fall out. And I have needles, scissors, I have a thimble in here. I've got some safety pin slash stitch markers for knitting. So I can fit a bunch of little stuff in there. And then it all just slides back on. I wouldn't like hit it, but you know, it's pretty secure with those magnets. They're nice strong magnets. And you can get them with lots of different designs on them. And this is like a pincushion top. I got this, and I know that's not actually a mini golden doodle, but it's close enough. I put Freya's name on it and my initials and the year. And it comes with instructions for like sewing everything together. And you can, they have lots of variations of these. Some of them have the little beading tray, some don't. They have different shapes. They have squares and circles and all kinds of things. Anyway, I've done several of these little boxes since I saw you last. I actually don't have them all here. And one of them I'm not going to show because it's a gift. Oh my goodness. I have Kreinik Kreinik like trapped in here. Let me move it. This one's a little dusty too. That's how well I keep house. Dusty, dusty. I've still got thread in one of these needles. So this is another one that I did. I just added my initials in the year. But these are just blue flowers. So you stitch, it comes with a pattern and everything you need. So you just do the stitching. This is like probably an 18 count. I think an 18 count, like oatmeal Aida. I just use the fabric from the kit. You just stitch it. It comes with everything you need to turn this into like a pincushion. These are needles. The first one I finished was not that great, which is really unfortunate because it's a gift. But my finishing of them has improved, and this is the same thing. It's got my threads are like stuck in there. It's got the beading tray, and then I've got I got leftover fiberfill stuffing. I got needle minders. I've got a waxer. I've got needle threaders. I've got scissors. I've got a yarn needle. I've got like tons of stuff in there. I think they're really fun, and they just sit on my table over here and bring me joy. Okay, so stitching wise, I kind of can't believe this has happened. I've become kind of obsessed with full coverage. I don't even know that that's accurate. Really, I've become obsessed with Pattern Keeper. Pattern Keeper is so fun. That being said, I have no desire to, I have no desire to like stitch a Mirabilia or something on Pattern Keeper. Like none at all. I'm very happy the way I typically stitch, and I like for most designs, I'm very happy with them. I like using paper patterns more than electronic patterns. I don't really like using my pattern on my phone or on my iPad. But something about a full coverage design with Pattern Keeper, I love it. And it gives me like the same sort of joy that a jigsaw puzzle does. I think that's part of it, right? Where you have like a blocked off square rectangular area, and you know you have to fill in all the spaces, and like ticking off the boxes as you go, it makes me happy. And I'm really enjoying seeing the pattern come to life as I stitch. So the one that I've been working on the most is Young Mother Sewing. I really love this piece. I'd like to get it done, you know, in a reasonable or realistic time frame, maybe in the next couple of years before all my kids are grown. I could actually find the stitching. This is I have the floss because I have tons of DMC in this house. This actually has a lot of DMC. Oh, and this is a Golden Kite pattern. Golden Kites are more expensive, but I really, really like them. I find so much on their site that I want to stitch. So anyway, this is where I am. It's just over 5% complete. So I'm not, probably 99% of what I know about stitching full coverage I learned from Sarah Stitch and Mommy. So this is Easy Count Lugana, which I thought I'd try out. It's not my favorite, I think, because it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous about those lines coming out. And I feel like, so I'm doing this 2/1 half crosses, but there's a lot of blends in Golden Kites, so you have to use 2 strands. I would not do a full coverage whole cross, at least not right now. I have no desire to make it that much harder on myself by doing full cross, or take twice as long by doing full cross. So this is 2/1. I am almost all the way to the edge over here. Oh, and also counting. I find counting not at least so far, right? Famous last words. I'm finding it not that hard. Even when I'm not using an easy count, because I do have other full coverages that don't use the easy count. This is the mother's head right here. And so what I've been doing is, so Stitch and Mommy does like a typewriter method, and then she also sometimes does like a slightly modified typewriter method. I think I'm doing like an even more so modified typewriter method. I'm picking symbols. I'll generally like look up here and see where I have one, and I'm picking one that has a lot of stitching in the area, like where I think I see an obvious path to follow to finish my strand, because I finished my strand. I also don't think I'm ever going to be a parking girl. You can see I drag my strands all over the place. That's how I stitch everything. That's how I stitch Mirabilia's. That's how I stitch Teresa Wentzler's. Or anything else I stitch, I take my strands all over the place. So I wasn't really gonna do, see I still have a strand on my needle. I wasn't gonna do a full coverage any other way. This is what a back looks like. I'm stitching it in hand. My tension's pretty loose, so I'm not real worried about puckering. We'll see. I'm sure I'll learn a lot doing this, but I'm pretty happy with it. I've been kind of obsessed with it lately, and I'm sure I'm going to stitch on it some later today. I should say also some stuff I've been working on, I'm not showing you. I have a secret piece for my husband. He watches these sometimes. He's also home right now, so I'm not going to show you that one. I have a gift piece that I'm keeping secret that I've been working on that's somewhat time consuming. And I also have, I don't know if we're supposed to keep it secret, like completely secret. I've been stitching something for Stitch North for the Smalls Exchange. So anyway, I actually finished that last night. I need to fully finish it, but I finished the stitching on my Smalls Exchange piece for Stitch North. I'm going to the May weekend, in case any of y'all will be there. So yeah, I don't want to show that yet. And I think no, I got 2 more cross stitching pieces. So I also finally started Indolence. This, I love this piece, and I think because I came across it while I was laying in bed recovering from surgery, which I had to do for like 7 to 10 weeks, really struck a chord. I was like, oh, that's me right now. So I just started this. There's very, very little done on it. And this is just a 25 count Lugana. So that's all I have. In the top, I just took the first symbol and started with it, traveling all over the place. Still have my strand on the needle because this was a really long strand. Yeah, so I'm enjoying that very much. This bag, I should tell you bags and I forget to. This is Kathy's Posies. Is who made this bag. I'm gonna get everything tucked away so I don't lose it. And then chatelaine. All right, so this is Egypt Mandala Garden. Maggie, Kitschy Whips, and I do Chatelaine Wednesday. We started the hashtag. I'm just going to explain it briefly because it's been a while. So the idea was, right, Maggie and I were chatting that we both have a bunch of chatelaines that we really want to do, and we had some kits. I had actually started this one like a decade ago, but we never pick them up. And there's just kind of something about like them being so special that we never, I think it can be different for different people, but like either we're intimidated by them, or the materials are so expensive and so special we're worried about messing them up, or we somehow feel like we need to save them for something special or something like that. And anyway, Maggie and I were chatting ages ago now, and we were like, we just need to stitch this stuff. This is ridiculous. Like, we need to just jump in and do it. So we started Chatelaine Wednesday to encourage everybody to just get going, to just get in that habit, pick them up once a week, and see what progress we can make. Now, I had several weeks where I did not get to do this, which really bummed me out, because kind of like working on the Teresa Wensler at least once a week makes me happy. Doing Chatelaine Wednesday makes me very happy. But I had some travel in there. I had appointments. Last summer and fall, when I was recovering from surgery, I put a lot of stuff off, right? Like other doctor's appointments, other things that needed to be dealt with or taken care of, stuff for the kids too. There's just a lot that was put off. And now is when we're trying to take care of all that. So sometimes my Wednesdays suffer. I'm also trying to work a little bit more. For those of you who don't know, I'm a substitute teacher. I go in when I want, I don't when I don't want. But I've been trying to do that. I've had a lot of meetings at school for my kids. There's just a lot going on. So anyway, some Wednesdays I haven't been able to do that, and that really bums me out. But the last, probably the last 4 Chatelaine Wednesdays, I think I've managed to do 3 of them, which makes me very happy. So here's where I am at the moment. I don't even have usually I leave a strand hanging. I didn't this time. I've been focusing on this center a lot more lately. There's some over 1 fish in there that I'm trying to get done. I need to finish the DMC part of the fish, and then there's some metallic, a couple different shades of metallic to fill in, and then this entire center is beaded. I've been not wanting to put too many beads on. I want to get like an area complete before I add the beads to it. I'm not waiting to the very end to bead, but I want to get like the area done before I bead. So I'm not worrying about catching on the beads as much with floss as I stitch. But this entire center is beads, and there's a lot of beads around the outside. So lately I've been trying to put a lot more attention into that middle so that I can actually bead that. But these fish are over 1, so that's actually taking a lot of time. And on Chatelaine Wednesdays, I usually only get an hour or 2 of time to stitch it. So I don't necessarily make a lot of progress on it in any one day, especially if I'm doing over 1 stitching. But that hour or 2 is kind of like all I need, like emotionally, to stitch the piece. It just like progress, right? I like feel so good about just like I picked it up, I made some progress, it's gonna be done one day. I've got a lot more to stitch, so. All right, let me get a sip of water. I did. I wanted to, I'm not really going to do haul, but there is, I didn't put this back. This is my Young Mother Sewing cover page. I need to put that back, or I'm not going to have it the next time I show it to you. I have something else kitted up that I thought I would have started by now, but I have not. And that's another full coverage that several other people are doing. This is Home in the Mountains. It's a golden kite, and I love it. It is way bigger than the other 2 that I have going, though. Well, actually, I have 3 going. It's way bigger than the other 3 that I have going. I only showed you 2 of them today because one of them I haven't stitched on in a while. It's not going to tell me here. This one's huge. I was looking to see if it gave me a stitch count here. It does not. I have not started it yet, but I am hoping to start it soon. I've been so enjoying mostly stitching on Young Mother Sewing. Like, I've been just doing that a lot, and every time I went to go pick up a full coverage, and this is an option because I have it ready to go, I've been like, oh, but I want to work on Young Mother Sewing. So I know I'm actually choosing not to start something, which is a little out of character, but lately I haven't been in a starting mode. I've been in a working on what I have mode, and so I'm going with how I feel, right? Because most of you, if you've watched me before, you know I'm a very much like, do what you want. Stitch what makes you happy in the moment, on that day. And often for me, that means starting new things, having hundreds of whips. I'm still totally fine with that. But it also means that right now, while I'm more in a mood to stitch on what I already have going, I'm gonna go with that. And that's just the mood I'm in right now. I'm not upset, still not upset with the number of whips I have, just in a mood to stitch on things I already have. So this one's so huge, I did get the Easy Count Lugana to stitch it on. It'll be 2 over 1. This is the floss. There's so many colors and lots of blues and greens, which is going to make me very, very happy because those are just some of my favorite shades. And I'm looking forward to starting that soon, but no like specific plans. I never plan, I shouldn't say never. I tend not to plan that kind of stuff because then, like, let's say I plan on starting something on my birthday. Well, by the time my birthday comes around, chances are I'm going to be in the mood to do something else. So, like, what's the point making the plan when I don't think I'm going to actually stick to it? I'm going to show a little bit of quilting and knitting stuff here in a few minutes, just a little bit. But first, let's talk about the retreat. Everything's going great. I feel like I should have thought this or like planned this out better before I brought it up. But I'll muddle through it and it'll be fine. If you don't want to hear about the retreat, you can just like fast forward a few minutes until you see me like pulling up quilting or something. One quick note I was going to mention, I had somebody suggest that I might want to bring one of these. This is one of those Omonic frames. I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring an Omonic frame to the Mirabilia retreat so that I'm going to have to plan out. I actually want to get some fabric on it that people can stitch on. So because I know a lot of people are interested in these, but it's like a big investment if you don't actually know if they're going to work for you. And for most people, that means knowing how taut they keep the fabric. Now, I don't have it tight right now. I loosen them when I loosen them when I'm not actually stitching on the piece, or at least I try to remember to. But I'm gonna bring a set of those frames with some fabric on it to the retreat. So if you want to, take a look at it, see if it works for you, you can do that. And I want to encourage everyone else too. If you have tools that people might want to try, different kinds of frames, especially things that maybe are a little more unusual. If somebody has a Millennium frame they want to bring, or other kinds of scroll frames or something, bring them to the retreat. And if you're willing, and let people have a try, and anyway, people can get a better idea. It's just a great opportunity with so many stitchers together in one space to try out each other's tools and see how we like things. So there's that. Okay. I just want to also reiterate or explain once again. So the retreat that Maggie and I are throwing is a Mirabilia themed retreat, but Nora Corbett, the designer, is our guest. So she is not planning the retreat. She has been amazing. She has very graciously agreed to design a pattern for the retreat, which I can't show you, but I got mine framed. So I finished stitching the model for the retreat piece, and it's framed and it's hanging on the wall in my bedroom, and I am so ridiculously excited and happy about that. So you guys will get to see a model stitched of the retreat piece when you're at the retreat. But that will be I believe how it's working is that will, just like her other retreat pieces she's done in the past, it will become a free pattern available on the Mirabilia or the Wishel website. I think the Mirabilia website. I'm not sure if you can get them on Wishel also. Sorry, that was total aside. So Nora doesn't know, she's not planning the schedule or what's going to happen or she has nothing to do with who's going. So please don't bug her with those kinds of questions. And most of you haven't been. It hasn't been a huge issue, but it's been enough of an issue that I just wanted to reiterate, right? Nora doesn't know. If you want to message her about things, that's fine, but don't message her about the retreat other than maybe like, I'm so excited you're coming. Because she's not planning it. So she doesn't even know. And so you need to let Maggie or I know if you have a question or something. Also, I have one more. I need to send out another invite. Please, please check your email. And if you're on the waiting list, please check your emails. And if you are offered a spot, I would really appreciate it if you would shoot me an email back and let me know if you're planning on taking it or if you're not planning on taking it. Because we're at the point now where, so we're not issuing a refund until we know we filled a person's spot. Enough people are not taking their offered spots that it delays things a lot. Like, so if I send you, I try to give people a little time to pay, because $200 can be a lot to like shell out, you know, on a dime. So I'm like, I know this most recent group, I gave them 3 weeks to pay, gave them till the end of the month. So hopefully they get some paychecks in there if they needed to put together the money to pay. But as time goes on and they're not paying and I'm not hearing back, so I don't know if the person's planning on taking the spot, if they're not planning on taking the spot. And if you're not planning on taking the spot, I want to go ahead and open it to somebody else, right? I know there's still people out there who really want to go and who would take the spot in a heartbeat. So please, if you know, either way, if you know you're taking it or not taking it, just respond to me and let me know what's going on, so that either I know you're trying to work it out, or yes, I'm taking it, but it might take a couple weeks to pay. Or if you know you're not, I'll just, you know, say thank you, take you off the list, and move on to the next person. What else about that? Also on the, well, wait list. I still get questions pretty frequently about what number am I on the wait list. You aren't a number. You just aren't. None of you are. I mean, in real life, you're not a number. You're human beings. But also, I haven't put you in order. I still have a good number of people who registered before in that first 24 hours. All of those people are in a pool together. So you're numbered in an Excel spreadsheet by the order in which you registered, but you all have an equal chance of getting in when I open a waitlist spot. When a waitlist spot when a spot on the retreat list comes open, I go to the wait list, I see how many people I have, I do a random number generator for that number of people, and wherever you are on the list, like if it picks 27, then whoever's 27th on the list gets the spot. I'm not going to pull people who registered after the first 24 hours unless or until I get through all the people who did register within the first 24 hours. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Kind of along the same lines with people going to the retreat. So this is a hard one. I don't know how to address it exactly, and I don't want to call any people out specifically. But the retreat is for paid attendees only, and Nora. Paid attendees and Nora only. We've talked about this before, right? Maggie and I don't know what we're doing. This is our first retreat, like at all, and the first one we've ever planned. We're doing the best we can. We really didn't know what to expect in terms of how many people would want to come. The max number of people our room can hold is 144 paid attendees. That's it. And to be honest with you, I am glad it's not more. If we were doing this like StitchCon, not to be down on StitchCon, but if there were 300 people there, which I think is the number at StitchCon, if we had 300 people at this retreat, you wouldn't get to meet Nora, Okay, I think 144 is already kind of pushing it. We want you all, as fans of a specific designer, to get the opportunity to actually interact with a designer. We want you all to have the chance to get something signed if you want something signed. If we had a lot more people, you know, the more people you add, the harder that is. So I've heard for years kind of rumors from other retreats about people just showing up who haven't paid. So people who just really want to go, and so they book a hotel room and they just show up. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. We are going to ask, now Maggie and I, and you're welcome to comment below because Maggie and I haven't made a decision on this yet. We were talking the other night about whether we should do lanyards or whether, because we are going to do like a name tag situation, whether we should do lanyards and have it hang or do the little like clip-a-doo thing where you like clip it on the bottom of your shirt or your lapel or something. If you have an opinion about that, let me know. I was thinking lanyard, even though they're more expensive, because I feel like some people don't like doing the clip thing. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you would prefer. But whatever we do, we are going to ask that people wear those at all times when they're in the stitching room. And that is in part so we can make sure the people in there's 144 of you. We don't know all of you. I know a lot of you. If you have a Flosstube, I'm more likely to recognize you. But a lot of you I don't know. And I'm looking forward to meeting you and getting to know you. But we need to make sure that the people in the room are paid attendees and not people who are trying to get a free spot at the retreat. And I kind of hate having this conversation or this monologue and having to go through this. But it has come up where we've been made aware of people who may have booked a hotel room and are planning on being there, even though they're not planning on being in the hotel, even though they're not paid attendees of the retreat itself. And I guess I would ask that, you know, you all just, and I'm sure people listening to this are having all kinds of reactions right now, from like, oh no, to like, well, I don't know what the big deal is. But I'm certain that there's a lot of you out there who, you know, like if you put yourself in the, you know, mindset of a paid attendee, right? Say you show up as a paid attendee to this retreat, you were lucky enough to win a spot in the lottery. To be fair, most people who registered in that 24 hours are in, okay? So I don't know if that's gonna make people feel better or worse, but most people are. So you got a spot at the retreat, you paid your money, you're excited to be there, and then you find out that there's people who did not pay to be at the retreat who are sitting out in the hotel lobby and grabbing Nora's attention and being like, oh, Nora, I'm so happy to meet you. This is so great. That's not cool, right? Like, that's not cool. That's just not, that's kind of sucky, right? Like sometimes, and it totally sucks, I get it, because last year, the Steel City Stitch Retreat happened in my city, and I didn't get a spot. And then the snowstorm hit, and I knew darn well that probably a lot of people didn't even make it to the retreat, and I was right, they didn't. And I'm sitting in my home stitching by myself when I know that down the road there's, you know, a whole bunch of stitchers who I would love to meet in person, having a great old time, and I can't go. So I know how that feels, to like desperately want to go to something, but you didn't get in, and you haven't paid, and so you have to stay home, and it sucks, and I get that. But it's gonna suck for everybody else if we have people taking Nora's attention when she's supposed to be there for paid attendees. So I have no control over who stays at the hotel. If people have booked rooms at the hotel, even though they're not attending the retreat, I can't stop you from doing that. I think it's going to be a little bit of like torture, right? Like if I were doing it, that would be torture to me, to like be staying in the hotel and no, I can't go downstairs and meet Nora. Maggie and I have talked about it, and if there are people, I don't know the intentions behind people who have done this, okay? I don't know what people's intention is, whether they are planning or whether they will disrupt things or take Nora's attention away from the paid attendees. But if Maggie and I are aware of anyone coming down, certainly coming into the stitching room, but also, taking up Nora's time, interacting with Nora when she's supposed to be there for the paid attendees, Maggie and I, what we can do is say that anyone doing those things will not be attending any retreat that Maggie or I plan in the future. Period. You just won't. And part of me is like, I shouldn't post this, but I'm totally gonna post this. I've got to imagine it's only a handful of people, if that this message is really for. But I also want to make sure that those of you who are the real fans, right? Those of you who are paid attendees, who or who wanted to be a paid attendee, and maybe you'll be a paid attendee in the future if Maggie and I do this again. I want all of you to also know that even though Maggie and I don't know what we're doing and we have no experience, we are doing the best we can to try to navigate this retreat. And we are trying to take care of you, because the fact that you are doing it right, that you have paid, that you filled out you registered the way we asked you to, filling out the Google form, that you paid your money when you got a spot. And honestly, a lot of you who didn't get in were very gracious about that. And I really appreciate that too. All the people who were like, well, shoot, I didn't get a spot and I really wish I had one. I don't have one. That stinks. Yuck. But I get it, and I hope the retreat's great. I really appreciate that attitude. It means a lot. It meant a lot when the people were posting to social media like, shoot, I didn't get a spot, but I know Amy and Maggie are doing the best they can, right? That meant a lot to me to see so many people being so gracious about it. So please don't try to steal a spot. I guess is my message. Please don't try to steal a spot at the retreat. Please don't take Nora's attention away from the paid attendees. At the very least, Maggie and I have decided we would make sure that you're not going to be in any retreats we plan in the future if you do something like that. Hopefully, if this retreat goes well, if it's a positive experience, hopefully Maggie and I will plan other retreats in the future. But anyway, I'll try to stop yammering on about it. But it's been on my mind because, yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to get messages about so-and-so is going to stay at the hotel and they know they don't have a spot in the retreat, but maybe if we could get them a spot at the retreat. It doesn't work that way. It's literally random number generator from the wait list, period. That's how it works. I'm not going to give somebody a spot just because it can feel a little bit like they're saying, I'm going to be there anyway. I don't think it's meant as like a threat, but it kind of feels a little that way, right? Like, I'm going to be there anyway, so you better give me a spot. It can feel that way, especially when the message is coming from somebody I don't know. So I might have just really pissed off some people who have sent me messages, and that's not my intent either. It's just awkward. It's really awkward. Okay, I can't promise I'm not going to say anything else about cross-stitching. I'm going to try to shift to a little bit of like quilting now, but I would be willing to bet for the next Flosstube you're going to see more Garden Beauty. You're going to see some more Young Mother Sewing. You see more of my Teresa Wensler, Princess and the Dragon, and more of my Chatelaine, Egypt Mandala Garden. Those are the 4 that I'm like most confident are still going to be getting quite a bit of work here over the next few weeks. Okay, a few quilting things that I've done. This is, so if you want to know the name of the actual pattern, I can look it up for you. So send me, or, you know, comment below or send me a message on Instagram if you want to know where I got this pattern. But this was a pattern I bought about a year ago when Russia invaded Ukraine. This was supposed to be a Ukrainian sunflower. I did not do it in sunflower colors. This was like you bought the pattern and it was, you know, donated money to the cause. So this was supposed to be a foundation paper piece pattern. I saw it and immediately was like, I'm gonna do it English paper piecing. This was by far the most complex thing I have ever English paper pieced. The center of the sunflower here is made up of lots of little pieces. Lots and lots and lots of them. So it was very complex and I learned a lot. I learned a ton doing it. I'm just doing this one block. I'm gonna turn this into a pillow. I had a small charm pack that I used to do this. It had a lot of like sewing themed fabrics, right? Like pins, had scissors, there were like cross stitches. So I just pulled from that charm pack. I love the way it turned out, although like the middle was very loose, right? Like the quilting helped with that a lot. I hand quilted it because it was just the one block. My hand quilting probably qualifies as like the big stitch quilting that's become popular lately. It's not so much intentional as it just because that's the way I hand quilt. My stitches are never going to be tiny. So yeah, the inside, kind of like mostly stitching about an inch outside all the seams, but then also stitched down in kind of some concentric rings for the center, which helped minimize some of that puffiness that I had. So anyway, I'm going to turn, I have some 12-inch, this is a 12-inch block finished. I'm going to turn it into a pillow. It might be a little bit awkward. One thing I learned, so some of my seams, the way I stitched while I was English paper piecing, so a lot of these seams are actually, like the seam allowance, and a lot of them is actually like stitched down at the edges, which makes it harder to sew into something later, but it'll be okay. I know how I'm gonna make it work. So I just need to pick a backing fabric, and I'm just gonna turn this into a little throw pillow. But I'm very happy with how that turned out. It was pretty time consuming because of all the little pieces, and there were a lot of, some of these pieces had really sharp angles, like, ooh, like that's a really sharp, acute angle to be stitching. You can see it there too. So anyway, I enjoyed that. I need to finish it. Something else English paper piecing wise that I've been working on is, it's an English paper piece trip around the world quilt. I'm trying to think of the name of the woman who started it. Let me see if it's on my paperwork. I'm blanking on her name. I'll try to remember to link it below. And if I don't, or you just want to know, feel free to message me or leave a comment below too, and I'll look it up. But this woman went through and did the math to design an English paper piece trip around the world quilt. So this is going to end up being a pretty nice size quilt. Let me see if the measurements are on here. Yeah, 70 by 80. Nope. It says the batting is 70 by 82 inches. So it's probably like a 65 by 75-ish size quilt. Anyway, it's going to be a trip around the world. And what I'm doing is I picked a whole bunch of different fabrics that have really small motifs in them. And I've been fussy cutting everything. I did fussy cut these to make sure there's a flower in the middle, but there's obviously lots of flowers on this round. I have never done a lot of fussy cutting with my English paper piecing, and I thought this would be a really fun quilt to do it with. So I obviously have all of these. I still need to stitch together before working on the next round, but I'm really enjoying it. I think the goal was like to finish it in 2023. I won't be finishing it in 2023, but I am enjoying enjoying picking it up. Oh, I gotta put everything back in the same place, or in the right place. Let's see what's next. So, another English paper piecing thing. Let me say about quilting in general. I'm considering doing a quilting video. Now, I think for the most part, I'm gonna do what I'm doing now, and what I've been doing, which is mostly I'm doing a cross stitch video, and then I might yammer on about quilting a little bit. And if some of you want to stay for the quilting yammer, you're welcome to, and if you don't, that's fine too. But I've been really inspired. So Kelly at Pages and Stitches, she does a cross stitch video and a quilting video. And that's been making me kind of want to do something more formal to share my quilting. Because usually in these videos, I just realized I have a finished quilt I forgot to get to show you guys. Maybe I'll show you next time. Usually in these videos, I just might like grab a few of the things that are here in my crafty area that I've been working on and show them, and like that's it. But she like really shows her whips, and I don't always like, I work on so many different things that I don't know if I'd be able to do it exactly how Kelly does it, but I love watching her quilting videos. And then Lala D Stitches, I'm blanking on your real name, Lala D Stitches. That makes me feel so bad, because I love your videos. Anyway, Lala D Stitches, I'll link her below too. She just did her first quilting video, and very similar to Kelly's. I loved it. She just went through, it was kind of like a finished object parade, right? She just went through the quilts she's made, that she still has, and like what she's working on, and I loved it. That's what, and she made a comment about this that I agree with completely. Quilting content on YouTube seems to be very like tutorial based, which is fine, right? It's great if you want to know how to do a technique and you can search for it on YouTube and find videos. But I really like videos that are just like Flosstube, but with quilting. And there's a handful of people out there that do it. But Kelly and Lala D Stitches are the two that have like really like gotten me inspired for like the video making portion of that. Like, oh, I kind of want to do it like that. And I've been thinking like I could stand, I would set this up differently because it's a lot easier to show a quilt when you're standing. But I could set this up in the other room and probably spend a good bit of time just going through all the quilts that are in my TV room and just showing them, and like I love Lala D Stitches did that the other day. She just was showing her quilts and talking about them and like why she made them and what was going on when, and fabric choices, and like just chatting the way we do about our cross stitch. I would love to do that. So I'm seriously considering doing it. If you have an opinion about that, feel free to drop it below. If I did that, I would label it, right? I wouldn't label it as a Flosstube. I would label it as a quilting only video. So if you don't want to see that, you're, going to ignore that content. But let me know. Let me know below what you think about that. I may or may not pay any attention to what you say. Yeah, I'm curious. It was interesting to hear her, Lala D Stitches, say that, because it was exactly how I've been feeling, right? That there aren't enough people that just like talk about what they're working on and what they're doing. And that would be very easy and very fun to do. Okay, so something else. I've started, well, sort of started another English paper piecing project because you can never have too many. These are apple cores. These are very small apple cores. Apple cores go together a little bit differently than some other English paper piecing projects. Parts of them, they actually get like appliqued, basically. You don't glue this curved edge. You just glue the top and bottom edges, and then you lay it on top of another piece and applique it. I am realizing how complicated that is to explain. I've done a few of them before. So this is my piece. Oh, holy glare. Okay, there's my piece. You only glue down the top and the bottom, and then you take, it's hard to do when I haven't glued it down. You take the top of this piece and you lay it on the side of this piece. Oh, glare. And you just like applique it down. That's how you do apple cores. So I have, this is kind of like a bonus project, right? This is something that's not really, it's not like a top priority or anything. It's just been kind of fun to do. I have Very Hungry Caterpillar sheets. And I want to talk about quilting with sheets here for a minute. I have part of a Very Hungry Caterpillar sheet. And this is how I'm salvaging my Very Hungry Caterpillar sheet. So this is a sheet that they were from Pottery Barn, bought them probably a dozen years ago. And I love Very Hungry Caterpillar. It was the first book that we bought for our children, or at the time, future children. So I think we were pregnant or trying to get pregnant at the time. So the sheet finally died. I went to tuck my daughter in one night. This was just a few weeks ago. And admittedly, we do not run the cleanest household, or the neatest, most picked up household. My kids' sheets always get changed if they've been sick. They do not like get changed weekly or anything. They should get changed more often than they do. But regardless, I went to give my daughter a hug in her bed, and literally my hand went into the sheet, like under it. There was a hole in the sheet, and my arm just went like right under it. I was like, what is going on? My daughter's like, yeah, that's the hole in my sheet. It's been there for weeks. Didn't you know? No, I didn't know. So I changed her sheets. The sheet was dead, and I washed it and got it out of the wash, and like it just was worn, right? Like it was worn in the middle. And especially worn like where your shoulders and like arms are when you like roll over and stuff. Because it's a directional sheet, you can't like flip it so you like even out the wear. You always have the foods facing in one direction. So, you know, I could throw the sheet away or I could do something with it. So I thought doing apple core blocks would be adorable. I want to make a table runner. And I have a couple other fabrics. I'm just going to kind of like randomly mix in. This blue is from my stash. This green was actually part of a backing for another quilt. I keep my backings and like use the excess. Anyway, I thought this would make an adorable quilt. A lot of these motifs fit perfectly onto these little apple cores. I don't know what size apple cores they are. So I've been cutting out the motifs. You know, a lot of them are going to be thrown away. Like I can't save every motif from all over the quilt, but like the side or the sheet, the sides of the sheet and like the top edges are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm going to have some with a butterfly, right? Like it's not all the whole butterfly, but you'll be able to tell what that is after he gets sewn. Some of them have 2 foods on them. I'm not going to show you all of them, but just wanted to show you kind of, I've been all fussy cutting. So he's going to get folded back, but you'll be able to see, you'll be able to tell that's the Very Hungry Caterpillar. This one's going to get folded back, so it's going to be mostly his body there. But I thought it was pretty. Strawberry. This will be one of my kids' favorites, the lollipop. I thought this was a nice and fun way to reuse or to make use of this sheet, which is like, I love the fabric, right? I love Very Hungry Caterpillar. But it also got me thinking about sheets and their uses in quilting, because it's something that lately in particular I've been hearing a lot of comments about. And I've heard a couple of very like disdainful comments. You know, it can be a thing, people sometimes will use a sheet as backing for a quilt. And some people will look down on you for that. Oh, I can hear my dog coming. My dog might be coming. I guess my point is just, I think we should use a sheet if we want to use a sheet. I do what makes you happy, right? Like, I wasn't gonna throw this this sheet away because it was a sheet and therefore I shouldn't sew with it. There's all kinds of different fabrics out there, and there are all kinds of different thread counts and how fine or how thick they are, and their different fabrics are going to be better for different purposes. And depending on your financial situation, you might choose some fabrics over another. Maybe a fabric's lower quality, but it's like the fabric you want. It's like, you know, the perfect color, the perfect print, whatever. I just don't think we should be so judgy about it. And sheets I don't think are inherently bad quality. And I don't, some sheets are very nice quality. These are Pottery Barn sheets. I feel like somebody telling me I shouldn't quilt with them. It's like, but they're Pottery Barn. They're really nice. So a few years ago, and I don't know if any of you quilters out there will remember this, there was a bit of a hullabaloo with French General. So some French General fabrics are very thin. They feel very thin. They don't feel like your typical quilting cotton. And French General had to come out and say, well, yes, because it's a higher quality fabric. Like, it's a much, finer weave. It's a higher thread count. That's kind of like Liberty's Tana Lawn, right? Like, it's a much finer fabric, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. And lately in particular, I've been noticing the different ways that different fabrics feel. I've ordered some I don't know how it's pronounced, but Accufactum, I think, which I believe is a German fabric manufacturer. Their fabrics feel very coarse. They're like thick and hardy. Yes, one minute. But they're beautiful. And I'm not gonna not use them because they feel differently. I don't think they're a poor quality, they're just different. Tilda fabrics feel different. They feel finer, smoother, softer. Again, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not poor quality. So I'm looking at this sheet thinking, there's nothing wrong with it, right? And we've had this sheet, like I said, for probably 12 years. We bought it when my oldest was a baby, and he's 12 now. He's gonna be 13 this summer. And it finally wore out. And this is a bottom sheet, right? So this is the sheet that like is getting a lot of friction from your body and stuff, and it finally wore out. It makes me feel good to, instead of throwing the whole thing away, to take the parts of the sheet that are still in good condition and reuse them. It makes me happy. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, that those of you who, I want to encourage you guys to use whatever fabrics make you happy. I always think it's good to know how something's gonna wear, right? I have quilts made out of fabrics that are lower quality, and I just kind of have to know that if I don't want to be really disappointed in something, right? Or know how to use it or how much wear it can handle. But I don't think it means you don't use the fabric. I just think it's good to know. Because you might be able to plan things a little bit better. You can't see it anymore, but I'm still rubbing my dog's ears to keep her calm. There's one more thing I want to show you, and it's a knitting thing. I'm going to take you out in 1 minute. 1 minute. So a couple of years ago, Freya, she's bumping the camera. I got this from Jimmy Bean's Wool. This was their craft vent box. This was in 2021. Yeah, that's right, 2021. This, Freya, stop it. 1 minute, 1 minute. This was really fun to do. It's a really nice box. I'm gonna give it to my daughter to store things because she has like lots of little things that she hoards. They've got all these little drawers. So it came with a pattern, and those drawers all either had a little notion or a ball of yarn in it. And I started this, you're supposed to make a shawl. I started this shawl back in the day and did not get very far, but I've been working on it here recently. So anyway, this is it. I'm learning a lot because I haven't done a lot of lace knitting, and there's some lace work in a couple of these panels. There's lots of errors in them, but I'm learning a lot about how to read my knitting and how to fix errors, especially like in lace or more complex patterns. So that's been fun. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna take my dog out. It was nice to be back, and hopefully I won't take as long of a break again, at least for a while. Leave your comments below. I know I asked several questions from you guys, or of you guys. And yeah, if you wanna contact me, messages below are good, or on Instagram, where I'm also Fiber Arts Amy. I hope you guys have a wonderful time stitching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.